Hello my daffodils, I am finally back with the second part of my, for lack of a better term, redesign video. Last time we dove right back in with the Stavros brothers, Aster, the reincarnation of Zeus, Dylan, the reincarnation of Poseidon, and Cyprus, the reincarnation of Hades. Since that video I've changed a couple of things. I changed a little bit of Aster and Cyprus's design, mostly color palettes and how Aster's flannel was. But on top of this, I also decided to get rid of their Myers-Briggs personality types because they're a little bit outdated now. So instead, I'm going to replace them with their flag of their ethnicity. So with that out of the way, today we are going to be designing Terra, Irit, and Oren. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Up first we have Terra Azad, the reincarnation of the Queen of the Gods herself, Hera. So for her original design, yikes. Oh my gosh, yikes with her. I don't even think I could find an actual picture of her first design. The earliest one I could find was when I completely just changed some of the colors on her original design, more specifically her hair and skin color. Over time, however, her design became more inspired by the artist who voices Aphrodite in Epic the Musical, Jenemy K. Jha, because I listened to her music and I was listening to her album The Rest of the Laurels, and it was just, some of the songs just gave major Terra vibes for me, and it really inspired me to make her look like the Queen of the Gods, you know? But yeah, so anyways, personality-wise, I wouldn't say she's changed much from her original iteration. She's still a little bit stuck up and a little bit, rude, but not, it's kind of, sometimes the rudeness is well-mannered and sometimes the rudeness is just her being her. But over time, she sheds her layers and allows the crew to see the real her. So her purpose in the story was originally mostly love interest for Aster, but as we'll talk about Oren later, you'll see that I kind of shifted it from love in the romantic way to more love in the familial way. So her purpose in the story is still partly to be Aster's love interest, but that's a little bit of plot that I would like to get more into later as I kinda tell you guys more about the story. So for Terra's color palette, I did a little bit of peacock colors for her blues and the greens, but her main colors, I wanted them to be complementary to Aster, since he's the reincarnation of Zeus. So I made them purple and orange, since those are the colors that are complementary to blue and yellow. Very simple thing, but still, I thought it'd be cool, so yeah. Her special weapon and her outfit. Her second one was inspired by some traditional outfits worn in India. I wanted to do this thing where instead of all of them being inspired by ancient Greece, all of them were inspired by like their ethnicities and all of that. And it was actually inspired by a Pinterest I saw of some traditional Indian outfits, and I was like, ooh, hey, this is actually a good idea. So there's that, and then on top of that, her special weapon, instead of the scepter that Terra usually has, Terra has these push daggers called katars, which, if I remember correctly, were used in India like a long time ago. So yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Some other facts about Terra: she likes to do some stargazing, and she also loves the sunset because it's kind of more in the deeper meaning of the sunset, how it kind of marks the end of the day and all of that. It makes her reflect, and it also makes her kind of face something she doesn't like, which are endings. So yeah, she's demi-romantic, but more male-leaning, so that's pretty much it. I'll let the rest of the Speedpaint run through. Next up is Irit Jansen, the reincarnation of Persephone, the queen of the underworld and the goddess of spring. For original designs, I don't really have any because she didn't really exist as a character at first. She was more of like a side character that they may or may not run into during the journey, but she wasn't exactly a top priority to be part of the main cast. She wasn't added in actually until quite recently. I think I added her in about like 4 or 5 months ago, maybe a little longer than that. At least in April I added her. She's actually the reason this video took so long, because her design took so long to make. At first I wanted her design to kind of be more inspired by 40s, with her outfit being more like skirt, flowy, like girlish stuff. But then I gave Tara a skirt, and it kind of felt wrong to put both of the girls in skirts for their first design, so I decided to do more bell bottoms for her first design and kind of go more towards 70s, which gave me the idea to do sort of a duality with her design, so that her first design is more towards what people usually depict Persephone as the goddess of spring and fertility and vegetation and all of that, while the second design is supposed to more replicate the idea of Dread Persephone, of the queen of the underworld and all of that, because I thought that'd be cool. And her personality kind of reflects that too, with her being, on one hand, very calm and optimistic and all of that, but on the other hand, she can be scary when she needs to be. Her powers are kind of similar in that way too. She has control over shadows and plants, and her role, she would be the one who would heal the others and also set like conditions per se on the enemies. So yeah. One of the major things that kind of comes up whenever you're talking about Persephone is her correlation with Hades, specifically the story of how Persephone became the queen of the underworld. You know, the whole hymn to Demeter and all of that stuff. I've kind of noticed in other media that depicting that story is either a hit or a miss when it comes to the two of them. So I kind of decided, for my own sake and my own sanity, I'm not really gonna have a love story between them, which is why I made her Arrow Ace. Because, yes, I don't think she's the kind of person who would want a relationship with somebody in the sexual or the romantic way. But I do think that towards the end of the journey, I do like to imagine that they kind of form a queer platonic relationship. Or would that just be a platonic relationship since Cypress is straight? Whatever, you get the gist. Anyways, for her color palette, I stuck with more brighter colors for her first design and then darker colors with her second design, and tied her in with Cypress with some red. I also added colors of daffodils and irises because those are some of the flowers that Persephone is collecting according to the Homeric hymn to Demeter when she is kidnapped by Hades. So yeah, I thought that'd be a pretty cool detail. And as you can see, I gave her vitiligo, so yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, I think. I'll just let the rest of this run through. Finally, we have Oren, who is not the reincarnation of any gods at all. This character, who was originally the reincarnation of Dionysus, the god of wine, has been given a completely new purpose. He is now the last demigod child of Zeus, but how exactly is that possible? Well, before Vesper came and killed all the gods except for the remaining 3, Zeus did what he does best, and he made a mortal woman pregnant again. When she finally had Oren sometime around March, she immediately abandoned him because she did not want to be stoned to death by her village if they were to find out she had a child out of wedlock. So, to her, it was better to leave him for dead than to face the consequences. Vesper saw this demigod child and was wary about his abilities, so they ordered Athena to kill the baby and bring it one of the baby's organs. Athena, who pitied Oren and saw great potential in him, brought him to the island of Tempest, a place I made up where time is excruciatingly slower, and it's very hidden, so it's very, very hard to find. And instead of bringing the organ from Oren's body, Athena brings Vesper the liver of a baby pig. Since I looked it up, apparently livers of pigs look similar to livers of humans. So obviously this has Vesper fooled for a while, because, arrogance. On this island, Oren is able to grow up, and he is around 14 in his own time when the main cast meet him when they are getting food. So technically speaking, it's been about 2,000 years since Oren has been on this island, but to him he's just 14, Like I said, time moves very, 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 very slow. Another thing I wanted to keep is I wanted to keep how Oren was transgendered. The thought line through this is that perhaps they got some potions from Circe to kind of, or whoever, to kind of help in the process, and they aided him in being able to go from one gender to the other. Personality-wise, he's very much like a young child. He's extremely naive, but very hopeful at the same time, which is kind of a result from the naivety, but he's also a very, very good actor. If there's a job for him where they need somebody to play a part in a diversion or whatever, he's the one you want on the case. So yeah, he's kind of, his closest and most important relationship is with Aster, the main character, because this story has kind of shifted from a love story between Terra and Aster to more of a found family relationship between Aster and Oren, where Oren sees Aster as his father, both literally and I guess metaphorically, for lack of a better term. Literally because he is the reincarnation of Zeus, his father, but metaphorically because they are able to grow a bond together that makes, and is very strong, it makes Aster want to protect him at all costs, So yeah, that's why I have in his second design, It's kind of like an opposite effect where I kind of put him in more modern attire for his second design. That's why I have Oren in kind of a darker colored version of Aster's flannel. I wanted the flannel to look older, like it had already been worn a bunch of times and all of that. And I also wanted to make it look a little bigger since Oren is rather small. He is the shortest out of the group after all. So yeah, his special weapon is called an S-Talk. It's a kind of thrusting sword. It's similar to a rapier, except this one is very good for like piercing armor and all of that. So yeah. As for powers, I haven't really thought about it yet, so that's why you don't really see anything too powerfully in his design. But yeah, that's it. We are finally done with our main cast of characters. I hope you guys like them. I also added at the end a bit of a rough height comparison. I'm sorry if it looks a little bit wonky, but yeah. I hope you guys like the designs, and I hope you have a good day or night until we meet again.